Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1435B, and today's date is November 29th, 2017, and the title of the episode is The Cabal has entered the second stage of the next event. The setup is almost complete. Let's get into the economic collapse, political, and geopolitical news. Now, it looks like the truth is still pouring out, and this right now is hitting the low-level people. It might seem like, ooh, this is the high-level people, but it's the low-level people. And we see it's swept through Hollywood. It's continuing through Hollywood. It's hitting different TV networks. It's hitting the low individuals in D.C. And we see the latest casualty is Matt Lauer. He is the highest-paid personality in TV. And he was fired following a detailed complaint from a colleague about inappropriate sexual behavior in the workplace. And it's funny because Lauer was out there grilling Bill O'Reilly. And it's funny that all these people who are out there saying, this is wrong, this isn't right, oh my God, look what this person did. And it turns out that they're also doing the same exact thing. Now, an NBC insider said Lauer's alleged victim complained to HR on Monday. This happened so quickly, she didn't even go to the media. She made a complaint to NBC's Human Resources, and her evidence was so compelling that Matt was fired on Tuesday night. The victim says she has evidence that this has also happened to other women, but so far we don't have evidence of that. And we can see right now that this is continuing, and I would suspect that this is going to go even further, most likely all the way to the top of many of these companies, to the top of Hollywood, to the top of DC, and we're going to see a lot more information come out about all of this, and it's going to spread into other topics, and we'll have to wait to see how this all plays out, but we can see already it has started. We see that North Korea right now, they are declaring that their nuclear armament is completed. Now, of course, there was a missile launch, and the corporate media, the U.S., and everyone is out there saying that they have this ICBM. It's capable of reaching the entire U.S. Didn't they say this before, that they can hit Alaska, they can hit Chicago? But this one definitely can. The other ones, maybe, but this one, yes, it has the capability of doing this. Now, reportedly, the missile test fired Tuesday, and it traveled nearly about 1,000 kilometers, reaching an altitude of about 4,475 kilometers. And right now we can see Defense Secretary Mattis is out there saying that this missile went higher than ever before, and it can strike anywhere in the world. And of course, Trump responded where he said that, we're going to take care of it. What I think is happening right now is that Russia, China, and the rest of the countries, they're still talking to North Korea, but they're not stopping them from developing this nuclear weapon. They know that Kim Jong-un is not going to be using this because this would be a complete disaster. This means that if they did fire this nuclear weapon and they hit, let's say, the U.S., or they hit China or Russia or South Korea or anywhere else, they would be obliterated in about 2 seconds. And I know they've been painting a picture that he is crazy, and then we had reports that no, he knows exactly what he's doing. And I think what Russia, China, the U.S., this secret delegation behind the scenes where they're talking about all the issues, I think what they're doing is they're allowing, and this is going to sound strange to a lot of people, they're allowing North Korea to develop their missiles. They might even be helping to develop their nuclear weapons to stop the cabal from doing anything. Now, think about this for a second. If they were going to stop North Korea, they would not wait for North Korea to develop a missile system and a nuclear payload that can fit on top of the missile system. They would go in way before this. Now, of course, they know sanctions do nothing. They can place another round of sanctions on North Korea. They can do all of this. This is just a waste of time, and they know this. Those people who are allowing North Korea to develop this, because once North Korea becomes a nuclear country, the cabal is never going to go into the country. it'd be too much of a disaster. The losses outweigh the benefits at that point for them, not for the people fighting, for them. This is why they've gone into other countries where they haven't had nuclear weapons. This is why they really wanted Iran to sign that P5+1 deal, because this kept Iran from developing and having nuclear weapons. Because their plan, if you remember, was to go into Syria, then eventually go into Iran. Now, it was taking a very long time to beat Assad in Syria. Meanwhile, they made this deal with Iran to make sure they would never develop a nuclear weapon. This is why this was really done. Now, other countries went with this, saying, listen, you can leave Iran alone, because they knew they could have business with Iran. Now, the Cabal, they didn't really care about that at the time, because they thought they were going to conquer Syria. And again, Syria took a very long time, much longer than they ever thought. And they thought, since the Islamic State was gaining ground, they had the Air Force in there bombing the infrastructure. They had thousands of U.S. troops and paid mercenaries in Syria. They thought it was almost finished. So they made the deal. They made sure that Iran would never become a nuclear power. And once they were finished in Syria, they were going to go into Iran. That's why this was all done. This time around, we can see there's different factions fighting, and the Cabal, they would like to invade North Korea right now. They don't want to wait. They never wanted to wait. They wanted to go in right away. And I think Russia, China, the U.S., Tillerson, Trump, they've been working with Russia and China, and they've been playing the Cabal right now, allowing, by continually placing sanctions, by calling Kim Jong-un names, by keeping it in the press that they're dangerous, keeping them going long enough for Kim Jong-un to develop this. Now, this sounds very, very strange, because once he has this, it's really game over for the Cabal, because if they see any sign of any type of invasion and they have a nuclear weapon, they'll fire the nuclear weapon, and they'll fire it into South Korea, or maybe they will fire it into the U.S. Now, the problem is, or Japan. The problem is that they can't stop this missile. Yes, they've had tests before to make it look like they have the ability to do this, but they had the trajectory, they had the missile type, they knew all the different technical information of where this missile was going to go. This is why Japan, when they see a missile flying near their island, why don't they shoot it down? I mean, wouldn't they be really worried that this ballistic missile was headed right towards them? I mean, shouldn't they shoot it down to show that they can? Why haven't they? Because the system they have can't. And if they miss, the world will look at this and say, okay, this system does not work. And this is why they're not doing it. Russia right now is saying that their position on North Korea remains unchanged. They still want a diplomatic solution to all of this. And they are still working with other countries to have this done. Now, Senator Graham is out there, and he is warning that the U.S. is headed to war with North Korea if things don't change. Now, this is a threat saying, listen, we will go to war no matter what if you keep on this track of trying to have peace with North Korea and allowing North Korea to go to a nuclear country, because he is part of the neocons. Remember, Graham and McCain, they were out in Ukraine saying this is the year of the offensive, saying we're going to take back Ukraine. And we can see right now that this is just a threat, because they're not doing anything. I still believe that Russia and China, the U.S., the faction in the U.S. is not going to allow the Cabal to have war with North Korea. Now, yes, they could have some type of an event, which they're trying to push right now to distract everyone from what is happening, to distract everyone from the truth, to distract everyone from everything that they've been doing all along. And we see right now that they're going to continue on this track, and they're going to try to push the event any way they possibly can. We see that Iran was recertified, and it looks like the UN Security Council recertified Iran that they're following the deal completely. There's nothing wrong with it. It's perfect. And of course, this was all part of the plan in the beginning, and now they need to say that no, Iran is not following the deal because they're trying to push war with Iran. They see they couldn't get to Iran after Syria because Syria is lost right now, so they had to change tactics up. Now they have to say the P5+1 deal is no good. We see Russia is going to keep the S-400 missiles in Syria. They're not removing them. They are keeping them there. Now, it looks like the U.S. military and intelligence services, they're going to try to foil any type of plan to end the aid in Syria. And we see right now there are still those in the Cabal that are within government, in the Pentagon, in the intelligence agencies, that are going to try to continually aid their paid mercenaries, their Kurdish forces. But in the end, it's not going to work. Now, we see that the Cabal, they're on their second stage of setting up this event. The first stage was to show that North Korea fired a missile. They're using the propaganda that the Islamic State, that North Korea can hack, the financial systems, the power grid, that the Islamic State has the ability to have a physical attack in different areas. And we see two things happening right now. One, they're saying the SWIFT, this is the global messaging system used to move trillions of dollars each day between banking systems. They're saying that it's under threat of a digital heist. And they're saying that the rise of hackers who are hacking into the SWIFT system is on the rise. Now, they're saying that the SWIFT system was hacked, and this was done on an unidentified bank. The hacker spent several months inside the network of one customer, preparing for the eventual attack by stealing user credentials and monitoring the bank's operation using software that recorded computer keystrokes and screenshots. Now, this is where it gets interesting. They're saying the hackers, since they were in there, tried to erase what they did, and they left malware in the system. Now, they don't know what this malware can do, and they don't know how it's activated, and they're trying to figure it all out, which tells us that they're setting up the takedown of the current financial system. Remember, Russia and China duplicated the SWIFT system in their countries. So they could take down the SWIFT system and bring the other one online and use that instead. But while they bring it down, they can say it was hacked, currency was stolen, they have access to banking systems. We need to bring the banking systems down. We need to close them down for maybe the weekend. And of course, that's going to last a lot longer. We can't allow people to take out their funds. And this is the second stage. The first stage is to try to blame a different country like North Korea or Iran. And the second stage is to build the propaganda of some type of cyber attack where it would bring down the financial system. And this is exactly what they're doing right now. And we've been talking about this for quite a while, where they are going to use this tactic because, again, a cyber attack, they really don't have to prove that much. All they need to do is come out in the corporate media and say that, this country, this group, cyber attacked and hit the banking system, hit the power grid, and they can shut down the power. We've seen them do this before, and I believe that's what the 2003 East Coast power outage was a test of this. But in the financial institutions, all they have to say is, North Korea or the Islamic State or Iran, Russia, China, it doesn't really make a difference. They hit the financial institutions, the SWIFT payment system, and it was cyber attacked, and there is a lot of currency missing. And they placed malwares into the system, which then fed into the banking system, and now we need to shut everything down. Now, of course, the public is just going to come out and believe this, without any proof whatsoever. They'll just throw out some IP addresses saying, yes, this is where it links back to. They'll show you some proof of, yes, within the code, we have all the information we need. And we know at this point, if they come out with this information that quickly, we know right there and then that it's completely fake. Actually, we know it's going to be fake right off the bat because we've been discussing it. But we see right now they are planning and getting ready for the second stage, which means we're very close. Now, if we put all this together, we can see that the economy is completely failing right now. They've been manipulating everything to make us believe that the economy is doing well. We already have the outgoing Fed, Yellen, saying that everything is contained. We heard this before, saying that we're never going to see another financial crisis in our lifetime, which we know we will. And we see that all other indicators that we've been looking at are pointing to a recession. And they've been trying to push war with North Korea, with Iran, anywhere they possibly can to cover up this complete economic collapse. If they don't cover it up, if they don't have these events, it will be blamed on the central bank, and they don't want this to happen. So at this point, they are prepared and ready to go ahead with the event. The question is, when are they going to pull the trigger? Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.